So, hi, ciao ragazzi. Welcome to the very first pilot episode of my recipes. So I'm going to start with what I think is probably one of the simplest things that you can do. Don't need to be a rocket science, but it was one of those things that I mentioned in my introduction that I was wholehearted. It's probably one of my favourite pasta dishes ever. Pasta carbonara. So traditionally made with dairy, eggs. You would run an egg through it when pasta is coated. If you're not a Puritan, you probably might put a little dash of cream in at the end. Regardless, made with dairy, and of course pancetta or some pork equivalent. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you the vegan alternative, and I've already started. Basically, I hope you can see all right. I haven't really got any help in the kitchen with anybody filming me, but I've started by just slicing some red onion and then some nice organic British mushrooms, and I'm going to just put those into a pan here, which I've already started cooking. Now, the trick with this recipe is so easy. Pasta, the spaghetti takes 8 minutes to cook, so I start the sauce as soon as mi butta la pasta. That means I throw the pasta in the hot water. So all in all, this should be like one of the easiest recipes that you'll ever come across. I use Barilla No. 5 spaghetti. I know some vegans, there's lots of different alternatives, whole wheat pasta. Regardless, that is one thing that I cannot give up, my beloved Barilla No. 5. If you've never had Barilla No. 5, it's a slightly finer spaghetti, and let me tell you, I'm particular about things that go in my mouth, and this is one of the nicest things that's been in there. All right, moving on. So my mushrooms and onions have been in for about 4 minutes. I've put my spaghetti on to cook about 4 minutes ago, because as I say, it takes 8 minutes. I like my food al dente. I'm just going to move those mushrooms away. Keep it on quite a lowish heat. You just want to sort of cook these lovely mushrooms and onions through. You don't want to char grill them. Once upon a time, I would have used a mix of butter and oil, preferably olive oil, so that the vegetables don't burn. They just start to caramelise nicely. However, I'm using just extra virgin olive oil this evening. Use whatever oil you want, sunflower oil, according to taste. I love my olive oil. And just bear in mind that olive oil doesn't get quite as hot as sunflower oil or vegetable oil in the pan. So just be careful not to burn. That's why I keep it on sort of a medium-ish heat. So my mushrooms, my lovely organic mushrooms and red onion are cooked through. My pasta's cooking. You have to ignore the steam. It gets our hood's broken. And then yes, I'm going to use something. So normally I put the pancetta into the spaghetti right at the end, but I'm going to now make a creamy sauce that I think you're all going to love. And this is using this Oatly cream. So it's a Swedish company. I absolutely love their products. I was really dubious when I started, I've stopped using lactose products because I've become a little bit lactose intolerant. Please be quiet. And I found soy milk a little bit fatty, almond milk and rice milk have got those flavours. They're all right in my cup of Earl Grey, but I wanted to find something that I could use for this substitute, not just for my carbonara, but for all the other recipes that I'll probably show you. So I'm a massive fan of this Oatly company. They do a custard, which is delicious, exactly the same as normal custard. They do this oat chocolate drink, because once upon a time, as if people who know me, I used to drink pints of full fat milk, literally I reckon about 2 pints a day, and finish off my pint of Nesquik on an evening. Can't do that anymore. And then obviously they just do a normal oat drink. Oatly creme fraiche, amazing. I'm going to show you a beautiful paella to make. Finish that off lovely with the creme fraiche at the end. Anyway, getting back on before I burn everything. So literally my spaghetti is nearly cooked. I can't open my cream. I am going to, hopefully you can see, add a splash of this cream, and the consistency is a little bit like single cream, which is perfect for this because I don't want it too thick and stodgy. You know, carbonara was supposed to just be made with eggs. So this is a perfect consistency. And then I'm going to add my special ingredient. So this is another thing I've really struggled with is cheeses, vegetarian cheeses, vegan cheeses. Obviously, it was very hard for me to give up my beloved Parmigiano, you know, I put it on everything. Anyway, I found this company, Violife, they're Greek. So Swedish and Greek, two of my favourite type of people in the world. And they produced lots of different types. And as today, I'm really impressed. They've got this mozzarella block for you Pizza Express fans who have tried the new vegan pizza. That's the type of thing they're going to use. They've got like this cream cheese. Anyway, we can go through those another time. But as for the moment, I am using this and it's called Prosciutto. So it's a vegan alternative to Parmigiano. Now, I got this. It looks very authentic. And I was so excited. So literally the first thing I wanted to do is take a nice big bite and think, oh my God, yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly like my darling Parmesan. I'll be honest with you, it's not. The texture's slightly different. When I've been cooking somewhere that I do some private cooking for, the kids said, first just stop reading the ingredients on the back, because that's another thing that puts me off when I see coconut and but you know, things that I feel that shouldn't be in cheese. Anyway, this prosciutto has got added B12 in. It's made of coconut oil. It's very ethical. And the thing to remember about vegan cheeses for me is you might not perhaps get the texture as you did with your darling mozzarella and your Parmesan. However, added to the sauce, it tastes almost exactly the same. So I'm really, really impressed. But the one thing to remember with this prosciutto is not to use as much. I'd slather my carbonara in Parmesan or Grana Padano, but now just a little bit. So you can just see, sorry, while I've been rattling away, that sauce has slightly thickened up. Once upon a time, I would never salt this because the Parmesan would add that salt flavour. However, because we're using this prosciutto and it's not quite as salty, I'm going to just add a small dash of salt, because I think you need to. Don't forget to salt your pasta. I mean, that's again to taste. And saviour of the day, loads and loads of black pepper. Okay, I love black pepper. And carbonara, any pasta, it's just lush. So I need to show you, I need some help, then I need somebody to come and zoom in. That sauce is now a nice thick. It could do with maybe a little bit more. Okay, but you can see that I've not really used a lot of cream. Okay, I used maybe a third of that little carton. I'm just doing enough for 2 people. If you're familiar with Italian cooking, you know to add the spaghetti to the sauce, not the other way around. So I've done it in a nice big frying pan so we can get everything in. And then right at the last moment, so that's really thickening up nicely. And what we're on, we're nearly on 8 minutes. Perfect, I've been filming for 9. I'm just going to add probably half. I'll show you a close-up. It's a bit steamy. Somebody can come and help me. One of my mates can come and help me film. And then I'm just going to let that go into the sauce. Now another thing about these vegan cheeses is they don't melt quite as well. But obviously I had friends who said, oh no, they don't melt at all. Actually, this Violife stuff, proper nice. And at Christmas I made dauphinoise with the other cheese and it was delicious, just as delicious. So we've now got, okay, a beautiful creamy sauce, no change of colour, so it's still carbonara colour. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to drain my spaghetti. Cardinal rule, obviously, of Italian cooking is you want to leave a bit of that starch in. Oh gosh, I've done masses, the masses. Okay, and then we're going to mix all that in. And as soon as I've mixed this in, I'll bring it up to a close-up. Okay, let me show you what's going on here. Turn you around. Oh, okay, it's not going to turn around. But basically, we've got